Hey everyone, welcome to Iridology Around the World. It looks like today I am kind of by myself. I have a guest, and I'm going to bring our guest on in just a moment. But my sidekick and my cohort, he wasn't able to make it today. So I'm just going to do it without him, and he'll join us next time. But today, our guest on our show today is, I know where she's from, and she is from Austria. Okay, that's a long ways away from here. And she lives in the city of brotherly love. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. So will my special guest come on down, please? There she
Hello.
is.
Hi.
Hey,
So
dear,
excited.
Oh, we're so glad that you're here today. Great.
So excited.
Good.
First of all, so excited that you're doing that. And we have always obstacles like my noise in the back right now, there are repairs coming on, but nothing will stop me to talk about iridology. Trust me.
Excellent. Well, I might have dogs bark in the background, but
exactly.
We're going to ignore them. Well, I'm so glad that you could be here today and share with us, because, our little broadcast is really reaching people around the world, and that's exactly what we want to do. And you've got a story to tell. And you know what? I don't even know your story. I know you, but I don't know the questions that I'm fixing to ask you. So first of all, how long have you been an iridologist?
So if I really think back, it probably goes back to when I was 28. So it's like, what, 20 years, 21 years now.
I thought you were 30 years old.
I know, right? I know. Every time I see my daughter and she's 20, I'm like, if she's around 20, I must be older now, I think.
So 20 years, 2 decades. Awesome. So was there anything that inspired you, or any one person that inspired you to become an iridologist?
It's great that you asked me that, because I started to write when COVID started. I was asked to be part of this Unstoppable Women Overcoming Mediocrity book. And she says, tell us a story about you. So I called that chapter, What in the World is Iridology? And literally, that's when I was really sitting down. I'm like, hey, when did it really start that I used iridology? So the really fundamental moment when I started to search iridology or use it was, unfortunately, when my dad passed away on pancreatic cancer. So it's the story from myself that I was like 26, and I was in this finance world. I was thinking I'm going to go into this finance and make money on the stock market world. And then when my dad passed away within, short time of 2-3 months of pancreatic cancer, and never had any symptoms. I mean, he had like maybe some indigestion here and there, but nothing else. And this just rocked my world so deep into the core that I went on a quest for figuring out how to use preventive care. Because I was touched by that he was gone from one moment to the next. And I understand that you can't bring him back anymore. So I used that energy to research. And that's when I got into color healing and frequency healing, and iridology was one part that I discovered. And I still, exactly to that moment when I discovered iridology, I remember how it was. I was reading in this book, the orange pigment, right? The orange pigment with the square colorette. And my dad passed away on pancreatic cancer. So I'm like running to the right eye, like looking at the right eye, which is the father's genetics, right? So I ran to the mirror, and it was the first time I actually looked at this specific pigment, because I really didn't understand that before. And I ran to the mirror, and there it was, a squared colorette, right eye, slight orange, brownish pigment in the pancreatic zone at 4 o'clock, right? So I'm like, okay, that is just powerful. And at that time, I was just introduced to all those assessment tools from my holistic education, right? So I was being introduced to face reading and to reflexology and to iridology. And then they were saying, well, which one do you want to pick as your major, right? So when I ran up to this mirror and I saw that whole story in my eyes right there. From that moment, I was not interested for anything else anymore except iridology.
Wow. Wow. So really it was through your dad
Mm-hmm.
that your life took this turn.
Right. And in this case, what was like, I was harboring about, like, did he eat wrong? Did he do that? Was he stressed out? Was he a workaholic? Was he never happy because the pancreas? But when I saw that kind of lineage in my genetics, I'm like, it kind of gave me a little bit of peace too, of
Yes.
understanding why he passed, because there is that DNA sign,
Yes.
and it's carried on from one generation to the next, and that was feeling liberating too with iridology. That was the first time I kind of had an answer towards my own personal life, actually.
Yes, yes. I think that's important for us all to do, is when we recognize these genetic signs, to not panic.
Yeah.
And not to move into that mode, oh my God, I'm going to die the way my parents died, you know, or go there, but to use it as a preventative tool.
Yes.
To educate and instruct ourselves to move in an opposite direction.
Exactly. And that's what people say, well, if you saw that time, weren't you panicking? I'm like, no, because that gave me the power now at that time, and it was 26, to never ever, you know, beat up my one organ system that I have weaker. And between you and me, it's really true, because when I get stressed out, I don't want to eat. I just want to have sugar. Isn't that interesting? So it's almost like subconsciously I would beat up my one organ system that's more weaker. So I have to always eat more regularly, kind of work with that. And I've never had any blood sugar issues. And because of the DNA and genetically, I looked into my children's eye now. When they were a little older, then they were like 3 or 4, I could open their eyes finally and get a picture. And I remember my daughter having the sign, my older daughter having the same sign. And I could tell every time she had more sugar, her personality even changed. She was more angry and pissy. And we still laugh about it now because she's 20, because her whole taste buds have changed more into salt, because she's not been growing up with sugar. You know,
nature's first narcotic that we're given is sugar.
Yeah. And because I knew those signs, so my family didn't do the family cookie baking and didn't do the family cake. We had ice cream cake, you know, when they have birthdays, you know, so they never created that. That was the funny story, because when she went to birthday parties, of course, didn't tell the parents to not give her. I didn't want to be one of those parents, you know, I let her do what she wanted to. And she got a cupcake, and parents always tell me, and she's like, I don't know what you did to your child, but she takes one bite and says, no, thank you, I don't like it, like a cupcake. It was all wrong with that. Exactly. And it was all the empowerment, because I learned about myself so early on, before I had children, that I can use that as my preventive care. So I can say iridology literally has helped me prevent damage in this field from generation to the next.
Perfect. As it should be.
Exactly.
Well, now this is going to bring me to my third question. That was a very good segue into this.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, we had just a little bit of an interruption, but we're back now. So, Birgit, will you tell our audience, what is your favorite sign or iris type, maybe, to see in the eyes?
Okay, sign-wise, my favorite one is that we can see the endocrine system so well in the iris. Really think about that. I mean, most likely, even the medical world, when somebody comes in with adrenal fatigue or thyroid weakness or hypothalamus involved, they can never see it that good as we can. I mean, this is sensational for iridologists. When we look around that outside ring of colorate and we have all those major like parts of the endocrine system sitting there, and we can see pigments in it, or we can see lacunas in there, I think that is fantastically powerful. That takes where like iridology goes from kind of like maybe like reflexology to amazing tool for everybody, because you know that when you're not completely sick yet, you can always find already a little sensitivity in the endocrine system, right? And especially if your clients or mine, they come to me and they have like symptoms of I'm tired, exhausted, drained, you know, I don't sleep well. I mean, it can be anything, right? It could be the reproductive system if they're female. It could be, you know, the hypothalamus. It could be, you know, anything. But when we look into the eyes, I know immediately where to start when I see the genetic weakness or the pigmentation in a specific area in the endocrine system. Then I go right there. For example, most people always think it's the thyroid, and I don't see anything in the thyroid, no lacuna, nothing, but I see a tiny little pigment right on the adrenals. That's powerful. That's powerful for your dog.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Right. And that's when I just wonder, why doesn't every holistic practitioner use iridology?
Right. I the same thing. I think the same thing, because if you'll just work with the whole system,
yes,
you're going to bring in some balance. And that's what we want. That's what we want is balance. Oh my goodness. That was beautiful. I love how you put that. So,
and that goes back to my orange pigment, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, so that's exactly the same category as I was mentioning, is because pancreas is exactly the part of the endocrine system too.
You know, I would love to see more research come in for iridologists based on just the endocrine system, just like you're talking about right now. So anybody out there that really enjoys working with the endocrine system, maybe you want to start doing some clinical research, some trials and things like that, so we can gather more information. I would welcome it. IIPA welcomes it. We want to see that research so we can learn and we can teach more. And that's fabulous.
Exactly. Just think about hypothalamus. I mean, the doctors don't even talk about it. I mean, so many times I need to explain to people, like 12 o'clock, I see a radial furrow, which is the hypothalamus. I don't think it's in your thyroid. You're just gonna put a band-aid on the thyroid constantly. We need to kind of go in that one and figure it out. That is a very hard one for doctors to actually even mention, because there's not a single medication out yet for hypothalamus. Did you know that?
No. There's nutrition. There's nutrition for the hypothalamus gland, and I know of that through standard processed products. And that is wonderful. And I usually couple that with a thyroid supplement of some sort.
Exactly. So, and that combination makes the win for that client who comes to you, because every year they opt higher and higher with the thyroid medication because it's not working. And iridology tells us where else to look.
Yes. All right. We've come to this little segment in our broadcast where we play iridology around the world.
Oh.
What I'll have you do is pick a number between 1 and 36, and I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, I have 26.
All right. Oh, mercy. Here we go. Well, this might be right up your alley, girl. Okay. What can I say to my client that will help her open her throat chakra, thyroid specific, to release? She has a hard time speaking up for herself.
I love that, because it's connected with the 5th chakra, which is that speaking your inner truth. And I work with a lot of that, especially with women in relationships. So what I say most likely is that they should learn to sing. This is my first thing I actually express to them. In the shower, most people, and I'm a little bit more sensitive to my thyroid because I had tonsils cut, right? So for me, it's like the weirdest thing is to sing in the shower. Like I never have the desire to sing in the shower, but when I was in this world where I had the tonsils, they were even telling me to kind of vibrate the energy and get more mucus out by singing in the shower. And I thought that was fantastic. So I tell my clients literally who have the thyroid weakness, start not, if you cannot talk yet, your inner 12, then start bringing energy in, but just singing, even if you think you're not a good singer, this is the best thing to do is start singing along in the car, in the shower, and open up the vibration right there.
Excellent. Excellent. I tell my clients to journal your thoughts, your words, whatever you would like to say to someone, but it can't get out.
Yeah.
It can't get out. You know, we have to take it. We take that air from our lungs and push it upward, and it has to go through that lovely filter of our thyroid to come out. And so a lot of times I'll tell my clients, if you can't get the words out, if you can't find the words, the exact words that you'd like to say, write them down, journal them, and read it out loud. Now that's the second step.
Oh, nice.
Read it out loud. If you have to, go to a mirror and read it in front of a mirror where you can say it to yourself.
Nice.
See if you're coming from love. There's things you want to check on. You want to see if you're coming from love. You want to see how your spirit is and how your delivery is. It may take a while. It may take a few days, a few weeks just to get it like you would like it. And now try it out and see if you can actually release that. So you sing it and I write it.
And you know, there's one more thing. I had sometimes clients, they say no to everything you suggest. I don't know if you have clients like that, but I do. Sometimes you hit resistance, you know what I mean? There's a reason for it. Then I helped one time a client by introducing her to the fifth chakra sound meditation. You know, there's a certain sound you can either omit or sound it out, right?
Yes.
And I gave her those videos, you know, on YouTube just for the fifth chakra, and she started to listen to it, and then suddenly she came out of this like, okay, I can do it, and then started to verbalize her more. So.
Excellent, excellent. You see what we've already helped somebody today just by having this little broadcast. I know
I think so. Even if we had construction in there, we had electricity fail out in our meeting.
I think I've got a cat now that's going to meow in the background.
Okay, good. And the dogs still have a park, so
you know,
I don't know why.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Sounds like a barnyard setting around here. Well, you know what? This was fine that we did iridology around the world today, just you and I. Next time I'm going to have a little buddy with me. He'll be here. I don't know where he is today, but he'll be back. But I just want to thank you and just tell you how much we enjoy having you as our president in IIPA. And you are just a bright ray of sunshine, and we just love you to pieces. And I can't thank you enough for being on iridology around the world.
Thank you for inviting me. So I can't wait to see all the other YouTube interviews that you're going to have in store for us, right?
We've got more coming. Trust me on that.
Awesome.
So thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
Bye, everybody. Bye.